We got a chance to be on Storyteller Row at the 2023 Moore Expo, which provided an incredible opportunity to meet patrons, subscribers, as well as other creators. In the few moments that we had free, we snuck off to check out some gear that I'm interested in for the next build. Let's check out Dobinsons suspension systems because I've personally used their springs in the FJ and have been nothing but impressed, so I'm curious to check out what else they have to offer.
Hey guys, so we're at the Moore Expo and I'm over here talking to Dobinson because, as you know, I'm building a new truck soon, and so I had some questions about the new suspension systems, and I wanted to kind of go over the time frame on all of the new trucks that are coming out, because we're going to have a new Ford Ranger, we're going to have the new Chevy stuff, there's some new Dodge models coming out, and then of course the new Toyota models are coming out.
Yep.
And so I was trying to get a feel on how long it's going to take before we start seeing suspension systems for those trucks. And so I was asking questions anyway, so I figured some of you might need that information. And so anyway, I'm going to let him take it from here. And basically I was asking how long it'll take before I can see a suspension system for the 2024 Tacoma. Of course, this is going to be a rounded number. There's no official dates for any of this, but I'll let you take that over.
So being a suspension manufacturer, we want to get stuff quickly done. We start off with measurements. We grab an OEM vehicle, we measure droop, bump stop gap, and ride height, and all that good stuff. We send OEM parts to Australia, and I wouldn't say between 2 to 3 months we can get some samples done. We do revalving in-house, so if something needs to be revalved, we do it. And even the Tundra took us about 6 times to revalve it. And when we're happy, we give that shim stack to Australia, and then we put that stuff into production. So there's some vehicles that we could get out pretty quick, and then some of them might take a little longer, but that's the homework we do to get it right. And every US spec vehicle, we try to do it ourselves to the best ability, because we're representing Dobinsons here on this side of the planet. So, and even Australia, they're starting to receive some Ram 1500s, 2500 Silverados. They're starting to receive some US spec vehicles, so they're starting to see them over there as well.
So with these shocks, how many different variations of springs will you have when these things launch? Is it usually just one spring for one weight, or you have
no, we start off with like 3 or 4 options.
Cool.
Like for example, a 4Runner is one of our biggest platforms, and we do long travel rear. I think the 4Runner now we have about 12 different part numbers for the rear and about 6 different for the front. 80 series, we have 32 different part numbers of coils. Wow. So being a coil spring manufacturer, if the demand's there and there's something that we can improve or fill in a gap, we'll do it. But we always start off with like 3 to 4 different options. But it's kind of like whatever the market asks of us, we try to provide it.
Do you know if you'll be doing anything for the Ineos Grenadier?
For which vehicle?
The Ineos Grenadier?
No, I don't.
Not sure. I don't think it's going to be like a super popular model. But
Yeah.
it's kind of the new Defender-looking vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe not.
We have to get into the vehicle, and some of these newer vehicles, there's so much electronics involved, and it creates a lot of work for us.
Okay.
But yeah, we just need to see the vehicle really and see what we need to get into.
Just curious, just because some of my audience are pretty interested in the Grenadiers. But okay, so right on. And then as far as so this is a remote reservoir.
Yeah.
Do you guys do bypass systems, anything like that?
We don't do bypass. So bypass is a position-sensitive shock.
Okay.
So if you grab like a bypass shock, you have a ride zone and a bump stop zone. Our stuff is we try to maximize travel, so we try not to limit ride zones. So that's why we don't go bypass. We will eventually come out with bypass shocks at some point, but our shocks, since they can work from 0 inches of lift, standard height, up to like 3.5 inches, like for example, a Tacoma or 4Runner, we know that some people want a different lift height. We don't want to limit them that it only works for a 2 inch or 2.5 inch. Because a lot of these people that take a bypass shock and they take it to 3 inches of lift, they're already working in a bump stop zone and making a really firm feeling, and you're in the wrong area of that ride zone on a bypass shock that's position sensitive.
Yeah, and generally speaking, you don't want to max out these IFS vehicles anyway.
Yeah.
As far as you can get them.
So the biggest difference between Dobinsons and everybody else is we like to have a product that doesn't require servicing and it lasts long. So you'll see our upper control arms, they use OEM grade bushings. We use sealed ball joints that you don't have to grease. The idea with our upper control arm is that you align the vehicle and you forget about it.
I like that.
Yeah, you don't really want to have to be re-greasing or replacing these parts. We want something that lasts long and doesn't require any servicing, and also doesn't produce any noise. We do the same thing with our shocks. We use rubber bushings at the bottom. We don't use spherical bearings. We do universal coilovers. That's the only product that we offer spherical bearings, because that product we want to maximize pivoting and rotation. But almost everything that's bolt-on OEM, bolt-on products, we want to give you that longevity, no service, and no noise feeling.
And then are these rebuildable?
Yes, they're fully rebuildable. Everybody asks us for a service interval. We created the product to outlast even our twin tube sealed shocks, so you really don't have to rebuild them, every 10, 12,000 miles. We did release some data a month ago. We told people we recommend a service interval at 30,000 miles, but it's not required. But we do the rebuilding in-house. We have the rebuild kits and we do it ourselves. So the option's on the table if somebody wants to do that, but it's not required. We design and engineer the product to outlast our sealed shocks.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then these, I assume, are replaceable as well, or would it just be this entire end?
Yeah, they are replaceable. If you want to ever replace the bushings or whatnot, you just unscrew this eye and you replace it with a new eye. It's pretty simple.
This is a very heavy-duty control arm.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
billet aluminum machine, CNC machine. And
I'm done with the uniball stuff myself. I've had that on my FJ, and it has caused me nothing but headache.
Yeah.
So on the next vehicle, I'm definitely not doing that.
Yep.
Okay, and then and so this is your standard upper control arm. Obviously, this is the upgraded. This is the top of the line here.
So we offer two different materials. We offer the tubular, which is more economical, still very strong. The billet is shinier, nicer, a little bit nicer material, and the biggest difference is that it has a camber adjustment.
Okay.
So it is a little bit more adjustable than the other one, but it still uses our sealed ball joints and the rubber bushings.
Okay. And then are these ball joints, are these proprietary, or are these going to be a universal part?
So we use, for anything that's Toyota, we use 555, which we know they do make a quality product.
Okay.
So we're happy with them. But the other applications like Ford, we do use our own manufacturer for that.
So 555, I'm not familiar with that. Is that something you can get it basically anywhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you did have a failure for whatever reason, there's plenty of guys that can make it happen.
Yes.
And so you can get a new piece for that. That's good to hear.
Yep.
Okay. And then I see you have them on display here, your link systems.
Yeah.
So I guess that's probably about the same for the newer trucks as far as getting those out. Those are a little less complicated, but they probably launch at the same time as the shock.
Yeah, we try to. So coils and shocks is always the first thing we do. Then we do the components, which is sway bar end links, trailing arms, upper control arms.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we want a complete kit.
Right.
Because it just maximizes the experience and the whole engineering of the product.
Yeah, and as soon as you're brave enough to have a suspension like this, you start doing dumber things, and then you're gonna bend those in half on the OEM. Yeah. So it's good to upgrade that stuff all in one swoop.
Yeah.
So let's touch on springs. So somebody like myself, I've got a ton of weight in my FJ Cruiser. So I know you guys recently launched a new spring for that, and it's a very heavy duty. It's rated for like 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And so what's the process on knowing if you actually need that spring or not?
Yeah, so going back to us being a coil spring manufacturer, the sky's the limit for us. We don't have to pay tooling costs or buy minimum orders like some other companies that have to outsource their product. So we've had people approach us, whether it's like a military contract or just 4x4 enthusiasts that pack a lot of weight. If the demand's there and there's enough volume, we have no problem designing a new coil spring rate or free length to suit their needs.
Okay, cool. And so if I were going to upgrade my rear springs, I need to call you with a measurement to get that all done, right?
So normally what happens if you have one of our coils and you need something stronger, we just ask for a load height. A load height is the height of the coil installed on the vehicle on a level ground. And with that load height, we can do some simple math and find out exactly how much weight is on that axle or the rear axle. And that way we can tell you, look, you need to go to something stronger and we'll design something up.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, because I'm probably going to need to do that. Yeah, my FJ is pretty heavy. Yeah. But in the future, with whatever vehicle I end up with, I will need a very heavy duty spring because I like building heavy vehicles. And I know a lot of us do. But anyway, well, right on, man. I think that pretty much covers everything that I had. And I appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. And what was your name again?
David.
David? All right, nice to meet you.
Likewise.
All right, guys, so that's Dobinson. And if you guys have any questions, reach out to them. I'll put a link in the description below.
As always, thank you so much for watching, and feel free to check out my other adventure, off-road, and overland related content.